morning, Quirky Birders, it's Lynn here, and welcome to your second autumnal card illustration video. So today I'm going to be showing you how to paint and also draw this lovely little autumnal leaf, and you'll be surprised just how easy the whole process is, just to create these beautiful tones, these autumnal colours and colorations on your design. It really is a lovely, lovely design to paint. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the drawing of the leaf, and we'll get started. So I've got my little postcards again. I'm really enjoying painting these at the moment. They've been great fun, and they just look fantastic once they're all painted. So we're really enjoying it. And if you remember, we've also done the floral doodles as well. So we've also got those on the go too. So really nice project to be doing at the moment. So you'll need a pencil, and you'll need a little bit of watercolour paper or a watercolour postcard for this. And we're just going to draw a very simple outline of a leaf. Now, every leaf is going to be different. They're not all going to be the same, so please do not worry at all. But basically what you're going to want to do is just create that lovely sort of jaggedy shape. And just bring that to a point. And then we'll come down the side, and let's have the little one in the foreground. And you can of course change this if you don't like the shape once you've got the basic outline. And let's go with the top of the leaf. We'll come out to the side again. So that's your very basic shape. Now, just looking at this, I think I do need to bring this out a little bit wider. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my kneadable rubber. And these kneadable rubbers are great because what they do, they don't put any shavings onto your paper as you actually erase that pencil line. So they really are quite good. So if you ever see a kneadable eraser, you need to get one. So let's go a little bit wider on this end here. It's a little bit better. Okay, so I'm happy with that overall shape. That's absolutely fine. So we'll just pop that just to one side up in that far corner. Okay, so the next step that you're going to do is you're going to just wet that area that you've just painted. So all you're going to do is just use water on the end of your brush, and you are literally just going to just wet all the way around that full area. Now, you don't need to be too precise with this, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be sort of firming up those lines anyway when it comes to the ink detail. So, and you can also be quite a little bit more specific with the when it comes to the paint. So we just need to wet all of the area to begin with first. Okay, and now we can start to add some colour. So I'm going to go straight in because we are working wet on wet, so we do need to work quite quickly. So I'm going to go straight in with a nice bright yellowy mix to begin with, and that's going to form our underpainting. And we're literally just going to be quite heavy-handed with it, and a nice watery mix, and just literally apply that paint and just let it do its thing. Let it just find all of the water. And just let that colour spread. And you're literally just letting the paint just do its own thing. Just let it find its own level. You'll have some areas that are lighter than others, but that's fine, you can work with those. Now the secret of this design is to work quickly. Working wet on wet, you've got to keep going. So the next colour that I'm going to add, I'm just going to add a little bit of orange. So I've got a little bit of orange also mixed with brown as well. So I've got a couple of different colourways. So we'll go with the red on the tips of the leaf. And like I say, you can be a little bit more specific now. If you want to change your brush, please do so. The brush that I'm currently using is a size 5. And we'll just bring that colour just down a little bit more on the edges of that leaf. There we go. I'll bring a little bit around this end too. Again, still working with the wet on wet. And you can just see how that paint is just moving around your leaf. And we'll come around this side here. A little bit in the middle. There we go. Okay, now another little trick while you're working on this design, and this design is actually made up of different layers of colour. So another little trick is to take a little bit of tissue paper and just scrunch that up into a little scrumpled ball. And you can then use that tissue paper just to lift away some of that colour, and you just get this really nice sort of mottled effect, like so. And then you go at it again, and you can introduce then some different colours. So it could be that you introduce a little bit of brown. So we'll just pop a little bit of brown there on the end, again a little bit in the middle. And like I say, every single time that you do this, you will end up with a different sort of colourway, different colorations and tones. But it really, really is just a really nice way to paint. And like I say, to paint wet on wet, it's really enjoyable because you're just letting that medium just find its own level and colours. So we'll go a little bit darker just to the ends here. And then we'll carry on just blending that sort of tip of the red into the brown. And then again, we can use our little scrumpled tissue. And you can see that the colours are really coming together. So we'll carry on. And this time we can use a little bit of the ochre type colour. And we'll bring that down just on the edges of the leaf. And like I say, you can be a little bit more specific and take them to the tips of the leaf. And we'll come along here. Again, we'll bring that colour into the centre. I'm just going to work my way down this side here. There we go. And let's put a little bit more colour just in the top there. Okay, so last little bit for this stage at the moment, I'm just going to pop in the stem of the leaf. So I'm just going to use a little bit of brown and just the tip of the brush, and we'll just add that little stem. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that to dry for just a moment, because I want to then continue with the overpainting and the layers of colour. But we just need to let this dry, so we actually then begin the second part of the process, working wet on dry. So I'll be back in just a couple of moments once that has actually dried. Okay. So my leaf has now just had a couple of moments just to dry, and it's now dry enough to proceed with the next stage of the painting. So for this I'm going to change now to a size 1 brush. Let's go a little bit smaller and just work the details in using the size 1. And I'm going to use a little bit of brown and purple mixed, because I want that lovely sort of mauvey tone of colour for the next stage. So I've got that going in my palette. Now remember to take the excess colour off a size 1, because it does sort of sit sometimes as a little ball, and you just want a nice clean edge to these lines that we're now going to be adding into our leaf. So we're going to be working from this central point here, and what we're going to be doing is just bringing those lines just down to the tip of the leaf. And then you're going to be popping in just a couple of little veins. So we'll just take those veins either side of that central line. And turn your leaf around if it's easier as you're actually doing this line work. So we'll come down the bottom here, and again we'll pop in the lines. We'll turn it round again. And again from that central point to the tip. go. And what you can then do is with that sort of mauvey colour, just scrub like a little sort of cloud-like area into the centre of that leaf. And just fill all of that area with that mauvey colour. You can then add just the tiniest amount of black or your Payne's grey just in that centre, just while it's wet. And we'll just extend that colour out as well, just over that mauve. Perfect. Now we'll just give that area a little time to dry. And whilst that's drying, what we can do is we can go back to those sort of orangey and reddy tones, the russet colours. You could even use the ochre if you wanted to. And you can just then enhance any of the areas just on the tip of the leaf. Now, because you've allowed the leaf to dry, you are now working wet on dry. And working wet on dry means that the colour is a little bit more intense. So we can just add those extra bits of colour that are a little bit stronger. And you can just then take some time and work your way all the way around your little leaf and just pick out the areas. Please do remember to look up from your work, and then you'll be able to spot any other areas that you would like to highlight. A bit more colour on the actual stem itself. And then let's add a little bit of the ochre. Ochre colour. Working with the smaller brush, you can get right into those points that you've just drawn. On the tip of the leaf up here. And don't forget, it still works with your little bit of tissue. So if you feel that you've got any areas that are a little bit heavy, then you can still lift those away. Just soften those edges down with a little bit of water. So all I'm doing now is I've just wet my brush. So I've just got water on the edge of my brush and I'm just softening just those little edges that we've just painted, just so we get that really, really nice coloration. And then you do that all the way around. Just manipulating that paint, just using the water. Lovely. So you can see it just comes together just so nicely, all the different layers, all the colorations and texture, and it's really, really cleverly built up just over a series of colours and layers. I'm just going to make that centre just a little bit darker again now. And we'll give that another couple of moments to dry before we just finish off the design just using the Payne's grey. So I'll just let that dry for just a moment and I'll be back in just a little while. Okay, so it's had a little while to dry, just a few moments. So what we'll carry on and doing next is we'll take our Payne's grey, and all we're going to do with the Payne's grey is just literally enhance those veins even further. So where you've painted them with the mauve, you're then going to go over it with the grey. And try and be a little bit lighter with the grey, so you get a little bit of a finer line. And then we'll bring the lines into the centre as well. Okay, so don't worry about the centre at the moment. We'll come back to that in just a little while. But just while that's actually drying, what we can do is we can just add a little bit of splatter. So you can add the splatter with the ochre type colour. You can also add a little bit of the russet. And And then you'll notice that you've actually got splatter through the actual painted area. So all you need to do with that is just take your brush, clean brush, and you can just literally lift away those areas of splatter. They will create a little bit more texture to your leaf, and that's fine. So we'll just lift away some of those spots. Come down this side. All I'm doing is literally just pushing them to the side. Now, if you want to, you can leave it with just a lighter covering of splatter just in the direction of the leaf, or you could then add some bigger little dots of colour if you wanted to. I've even introduced a little bit of a pale green in here as well. So it's entirely up to you how you wish to finish the background of your design. So just that last little bit now, and just deal with the centre of the leaf itself. And we'll just go a little bit darker with the grey. And again, just let that find its own way, because it's still a little bit wet in there, so it will find its own level. You can also just drop a little bit of water in the centre and just allow it to just do its thing. I'll just extend those darker colours out just ever so slightly. Okay. Now that's the painting of your leaf finished. We again just now need to leave that to dry, and then we'll come back to it in just a moment and complete the ink details. Okay, so our little autumnal leaf has now dried, and now we're in a position to add the ink details. Now, pen-wise, I've got a size 0.3, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to outline all of that lovely shape that we drew. And just get that lovely sort of pointy, irregular movement within the leaf. And we'll come around this side. Like so. We'll add a line for the stem. And then all we need to do is just put in those central veins. So we'll come out to the edge. Like I say, just turn it round if it makes it easier as you're actually completing the line work. And then just use a little bit of the water just to add a little bit more depth to the centre of that leaf. The ink will run from your pen. There we go. So I'll just sign that at the bottom now. And there we have it. One little autumnal leaf completely finished. I do hope you've enjoyed the process. I do hope you've enjoyed painting along with me. And please do continue to enjoy your painting and creating these lovely little autumnal leaves. Thank you very, very much for watching. I shall be back again very, very soon. And this time we shall be doing a little pumpkin themed design. Take care now. Enjoy your painting.